Hey, how many swans do you see here? I count 4. I think that's a duck up there, which doesn't count, but I'm no expert. Okay, here's an easy one. 1 swan. Done. And over here we've got, gee, I don't know, slow down. 3, 4, 10, I have no idea. I apologize, and maybe I need to brush up on my highlights for children or something, because I am very much not equipped to accurately count swans. Unlike this guy.
Well, they've always been classed as royal birds, and all my life I've worked on the River Thames, and I've always loved swans. It's just one of those things, and I wouldn't be doing this job if I didn't love a swan.
Our man here with the literal swan's feather in his cap and the flag of a swan on his boat is not just some enthusiast who likes to keep track of who's waiting around the River Thames in London these days. He is the official swan marker to His Majesty the King of the United Kingdom and other Commonwealth realms, and, perhaps more importantly here, Seigneur of the Swans. This video is taken from Monday, as our swan marker to Charles III inside of his skiff, that's a boat, leads the rest of this cohort of other swan markers as they carry out this annual, centuries-old, 5-day ceremony of swan upping.
Well, swan upping dates right back to the 12th century, where swan was a very, very important food source then.
Yeah, back in the day, swan upping came about because these majestic creatures were once an important source of meat, and old monarchs wanted to make sure there was enough food to go around. But fortunately, for our big swans and little cygnets here, today they're not being sized up to figure out who's the best candidate for deboning, salting, peppering, gingering, larding, and baking in butter before serving like a beef pie.
Of course, today, swans are no longer eaten and they're a protected species. But swan upping still takes place on the River Thames. We start off from Sunbury and we go all the way to Abingdon, and it is about monitoring the welfare of the Thames swans.
That's right, the upping of the swans by markers and skiffs is these days mostly an occasion to carry out a health check on these things.
Each family of swans we come across, we will actually put the skiffs around them in a large circle. We work the skiffs in closer and closer together. Then we can lift the family of swans from the water. We take them ashore. We will weigh the young cygnets, we will measure them, and most importantly, we check them for injuries.
Over the past few decades, everything from lead poisoning to varying illnesses have impacted the health of our fine creatures here. But the King's Birdman observes that early signs in this year's head count are encouraging.
Yes, it was really 2 years ago that we had really a bad bout, let's say, of avian flu. And we lost a lot of the breeding pairs on the river, and last year was disastrous for cygnets. Naturally, we're still short of breeding pairs, so this year I can't see being much better, but the avian flu has sort of disappeared a bit more now. So we seem a bit happier about it.
Now, as part of this royal upping, they also count the creatures. Some belong to some very old trade associations, and as for the rest of them, as His Majesty's royal URL here notes, the King retains the rights to claim ownership of any unmarked mute swans swimming in open waters. Yeah, they're his. And if you're nice to him, maybe he'll give you one. Back in the 1950s in Lakeland, Florida, someone actually wrote to Queen Elizabeth II to tell her that the city's swans were dying off and they could use a few more live ones. And Her Majesty ended up gifting the city a pair of muted swans. We actually told you about this last year here on your Daily News Refresh. Please subscribe. As Lakeland, Florida has actually been carrying out its own type of swan roundup to check up on their swans for more than 40 years. As of press time, we don't have a final swan count over in London. I've spotted like a dozen, but we'll leave the accuracy to the King's men here. But this entire affair takes about 5 days, as they make their way up the River Thames, one skiff and one swan at a time, and carry out this important annual ceremonial event.
And of course, His Majesty, very, very keen on conservation, education, and wildlife itself, so it pans out well.
Indeed, as His Royal Majesty's chief bird brain here continued to mark up these things to kingdom come, King Charles III himself made an appearance on the British Isle of Guernsey on Tuesday, home not just to a very famous sweater, but to a rare goat breed, upon which he bestowed the special title of the Royal Golden Guernsey Goat. Huh, wow. And you thought your title of Manager of Search Engine Optimization was impressive. And hey, if you're looking for a Royal Golden YouTube channel, the title bestowed upon us by ourselves is @TheNewsRefresh, and we put out new weird and interesting news videos each and every day. My name is Greg Ott, and let us know what you think of this video and anything else you'd like to see from us in the comments. Or if you want to get in an argument over how this dinosaur called the Lokiceratops was named. You see, we just put out a full video and a short about this newly discovered dinosaur called the Lokiceratops, which is named after the Norse god Loki because of the horns on its head. We said that this dinosaur is not named after the Marvel character, But in the comments, the Disney Plus crowd was sure to let us know that the Loki character is named after that same Norse god, even though we never said that TV character isn't named after that same Norse god, just that the dinosaur is not named after the guy from the TV show. The internet is nothing but fun and joy.